Well, hi, friends, and welcome to NC Family's Weekly Update. Gosh, Jerry, it's been a quiet week at the General Assembly following a very busy and intense week last week with the crossover deadline. Of course, the big news this week is the governor's impending veto of Senate Bill 20, the Care for Women, Children, and Families Act. This was the major pro-life bill that passed the General Assembly just last week. And so lots of news has come out about the governor and his intentions to try to kill this bill, which is really quite disturbing, understanding what the bill does, which is it will, if it's enacted, save thousands of unborn lives every year, and also provide support to women and families that are facing unplanned and crisis pregnancies. So it's really tragic that the governor and his allies have this position on the bill, but they seem, again, really intent on seeing that this bill does not get enacted into law.
Well, the title says it all in this bill. It is care for women, children, and their families. And it's not just in the title. It's, as John said, it's the whole 46 pages is about caring for unborn children, these innocent children, and their mothers, making provision for how can we help them as they face the challenges they're facing. And the bill is very comprehensive in that way. The sad thing, just to point to what happened, and maybe we mentioned this last week, but in over 5 hours of debate in the Senate, there was not one mention for the people who were opposed to this bill, what their position is as it relates to the innocent unborn child, which was tragic. They were challenged twice. Please tell us what your position is. They're not saying it, and I'm sadly, as I'm sure the governor is traveling the state, he's not mentioning the unborn child. It's a tragedy. It's sad, and then we can talk about it, but I know it's something that we all need to be praying that God would work in the hearts and minds of legislators, the governor, of each person to do what's right in God's eyes.
Yeah. Well, and Jerry, to highlight how depraved this effort has become, the governor is planning on vetoing the bill at a pro-abortion rally on Saturday in downtown Raleigh, right outside the legislative building. This rally is called, quote, the Veto Rally for Healthcare Freedom. Healthcare freedom when you're talking about taking the lives of thousands of unborn children every year and not providing these resources to women and children and families that need them to prosper, not an initiative of death in North Carolina, but an initiative of life in North Carolina. So it's offensive, it's disturbing, because we know that in every so-called successful abortion, that a baby dies. And to characterize this as a rally for healthcare freedom is just incredibly sickening and disturbing. So we, as you said, we need to be praying for our governor, praying for our legislative leaders and other decision makers that they would really see this bill for what it is, which is a bill that will honor and preserve life in North Carolina. So please join us, and I'm sure many of you, our listeners and supporters, are already engaging in prayer for this, but pray that this evil will be thwarted and that the truth of this legislation, the truth of this effort will really take center stage and people will see it for what it really is.
And we are hearing that intense pressure is being applied to members of the legislature on this issue. And that's where, again, we can't say it too many times. Please pray for God to give people the heart and mind to know what's right and to be willing to stand and to look to God to do that. This is as big an example as I can ever remember of how clear that's needed. It's needed every day and all the decisions are made, but this is so critical, as John said, to life. I could get off. I know I don't want to go there too much, but I still remember, just to point this out to y'all in the debate, one of the things that was said, I don't know why I'm going here, but hopefully it's helpful.
All right.
They said, when is it ever right for the legislature, these are people opposing it, for the legislature to step in to the decision making as it relates to health care? And you're kind of going, there is no other case in health care where the purpose of the procedure is the death of in this case, an innocent, unborn human being. And that's where you're hearing our motion, and hopefully, it's part of God wanting to encourage everyone to stay engaged on this so that this will carry through. This will become law here in North Carolina.
Yeah, well, it's incredibly important. And as usual, there's a link below the video to our action alert where you can easily identify your member of the State House and State Senate and call them. It's got their legislative phone numbers in it. You can call them and either talk to them directly, talk to their legislative assistant, or leave a message encouraging them, both your members of the House and the Senate, encouraging them to override the governor's expected veto of Senate Bill 20. So please, please, please take advantage of that opportunity. Jerry, just kind of quickly moving on, the state Senate is also expected to roll out its version of the state budget very soon, possibly this coming week. And it's going to be very interesting to see how the Senate's priorities and the House priorities line up, and also how they differ. So they're really important issues like a significant expansion of the Opportunity Scholarship School Choice Program in North Carolina that will be a part of the budget, as well as a lot of provisions in this ProLife Bill. There are about $160 million in the ProLife Bill to help to improve and provide resources for foster care, for adoption, for child care, and other important and critical services to women and families who are, again, facing crisis pregnancies, and who could really do with help and assistance for that, again, to help mothers have every reason to choose life. So it's going to be interesting to see the budget and what's in that. And also, as we have been talking about for weeks, the sports gambling bill and also the quote-unquote medical marijuana bill are still very active. There are links below the video where you can take action on those action alerts if you haven't already. Of course, the sports gambling bill passed the House and is sitting over in the Senate. The medical marijuana bill, supposedly called medical, passed the Senate and is sitting over in the House. Right. So, folks, if you haven't already, please contact your members of the State House and the State Senate using our action page to send those emails to your legislators about those issues, or call them.
And thank you if you have, but actually, because these bills have been lingering on, it might be helpful, probably would be, to contact them once again, yes, to encourage them to oppose the marijuana bill and the gambling bill.
Yeah. And in addition, the bills that were kind of subject to the crossover deadline, like the Fairness in Women's Sports Act, and a number of other important bills that we've talked about in our previous videos, are active and will likely see action. So pay attention to your email inbox. We'll be sending updates about that and providing resources to you so that you can easily contact your lawmakers about these important bills. So, Jerry, anything else before we conclude this week?
I think that's it. Again, thank y'all for listening and working together with us. We really appreciate it.
We do, and thank you for your support. Please continue to pray, and we will see you next week. God bless you.